What would you do if you were regularly sending money to help African children, but then you found out that your donations were funding their abuse, violence, and drug trafficking? Imagine the heart-touching videos from Africa. Children are singing and dancing, and accompanied with slogans like, "Donate to our children." You send money, you share, you believe you are helping. But the reality? That same 5-year-old African girl who smiled at you in the video is brutally beaten at night merely because she wet herself. And that little African boy whose education you wanted to pay for is being taught homosexual practices. And your money? It's not being used to buy food, medicine, or school supplies. No, it's used to buy heroin, cocaine, marijuana, or to pay for sex with local boys. Does that sound too horrible to even be true? Then watch this video all the way through. Because it won't be me speaking here. It will be the people who experienced it firsthand. People who became victims of one of the biggest scams I've ever heard of. A scam so disgusting that it makes your stomach turn. This scam is called Czechoslovakia Africa, and the perpetrator of this scam, according to eyewitnesses, is Jakub Jahl, a man who for years posed as a savior of African children and created the image of a humanitarian worker on social media. Today, this man presents himself as an anti-cult fighter and accuses other groups and organizations of things that, according to many witness testimonies, he himself is guilty of. And that's why the time has come for the mask to fall, and for us to see who is who. Volunteers who went to Africa to help, sponsors who funded the alleged mission in good faith, and even Africans themselves speak clearly. Jakub Jahl is a dangerous manipulator, abuser, psychopath, and fraudster who physically beat children, sexually abused them, attacked locals with a knife, behaved aggressively, used drugs, and suffers from serious psychological problems. And today, we will listen to these testimonies.
Jakub Sobek, or Jakub Jahl, the guy himself doesn't even know who he is. Because this guy is a huge manipulator, a bastard, and a liar, an unbelievable liar.
Jakub Jahl is truly a very mentally unstable person, who does indeed horrible things. He beats children, he did it there, and he uses drugs. He is a person who has been diagnosed with a psychiatric disorder, bipolar personality disorder.
You could see the evil in his eyes. He simply has it in him. He used to be involved with the satanic community. He himself embodies Satan. Indeed, he tries to hurt many people, and everyone asks him why. Since nobody has hurt him, no one meddles in his life. So why does he meddle in everyone's business and do such evil? Well, because he has it inside him, because he is sick.
Oh, I just imagine about Jacobo. I get a picture like a person who dealing with the fraudulence, the people who is liar, the people who is tricking, is what I get in my mind.
I don't think if he's a good person, because if he was a good person, he can do what he was doing, you know. For me, when I'm thinking about Jacob, I'm thinking about he's a bad person, you know. He is manipulating in order to take money from people in order to spend himself, you know. Yeah. But not for helping kids, yeah. So I'm not appreciate that, because just he was not doing good, yeah.
To fully understand the scale of this unbelievable humanitarian scam that Jakub Jahl created and raised hundreds of thousands of crowns from many donors who followed him on social media, let's first take a look at how Jakub managed to create a completely perfect illusion of an orphanage that, according to witnesses, never officially existed.
She had always dreamed of going to Africa to help. At first, she wanted to go through some Silesians and so on, but then she came across something somewhere in the Czech Republic that looked like they had their own orphanage, some Mr. Jakub Jahl, and he was looking for volunteers over Christmas. So Tanečka signed up, went there packed with suitcases, all happy. They arrived, and there was a big orphanage, a huge complex. She sent us various videos and photos. So it looked like the guys were really capable, that they actually cared about the African children. Everything was great until the first problems arose. And that was because my daughter is kind of a rebel and became friends with some of the teachers there. And in the end, it turned out, confirmed even with Joseph, that the orphanage didn't actually operate at all.
When I found out that the project he had been promoting, by then it had already been 2 years, was not a real project as it was supposed to be, and that those children didn't even live there. It was simply a community center where kids would just gather and play. And y'all knew it. We couldn't. We had no way of knowing it wasn't what it claimed to be, that children just normally gathered and played like that. Because it was a big fenced-in center. There were even beds set up. Everything was staged. And one night we went there and found out that no children actually slept there. That's when we realized that this wasn't a real orphanage, not the way it should be. And back then, I believed him. That he didn't know, that the whole orphanage thing was a scam. That wasn't an orphanage like it was supposed to be, and in fact, he had over 100 people sending him around 1,000 crowns a month as part of a distance adoption program, and in return he would send them photos. But, I didn't get it at the time. I was only there for a month. But over time, we started to understand how it really was, and that Jahl was in on it from the very beginning, and he had been coordinating with the person in charge of the orphanage, a Tanzanian man named Ramadan. So when a sponsor sent 1,000 crowns to Jahl's account, he would maybe send 50 crowns to that man. And in return, from 100 children, he would take pictures for him. Just grabbing kids off the street, because for a lollipop or some candy, a child will pose however you want. And the money was left to him.
But for example, I saw when we arrived at the orphanage, he didn't care about the children at all. He had no regard for them. He simply wasn't kind or nice towards the kids. He only saw money in all of it. He just needed to film some videos with children to get money from people. Because having adorable African kids in a video who are hungry and asking for food, that touches every good person's heart. And he knew how to exploit that enormously, but he simply had no feeling for those children. He wasn't doing it selflessly. He was only doing it with the goal of getting money from people, so he could have something to live on. But, for example, he wanted to make decisions for me about the material aid I had brought, about what would be done with it. He didn't want to give it to the people. And at first, I didn't understand. Like, I had brought 2 full suitcases of material aid I had collected back home from my friends. Everyone contributed something. And he was like, just leave this here. They had a room where they kept all the stuff people had sent them, and I think he was trading with it. He wasn't giving it out to people selflessly. So I didn't get it. How come I brought 2 full suitcases and I'm not allowed to give it to the people? Every day I still packed a full backpack, and when we went to visit someone, I gave it out, even though he told me not to give them everything. Why shouldn't I? After all, I brought it for them.